everyone, this is the video that goes along with Online Work 41. We are finding surface area of cylinders today. So a cylinder like a coffee can, or today I have a can of crushed tomatoes. Surface area for cylinders can be a little bit more confusing than the surface area of other shapes because surface area means how much it would take to totally cover this coffee can. And on all of our other figures, we were able to find the area of every face and add them up. Well, when it comes to a cylinder, that's a little bit more difficult. We can find the area of the circles and add those up. We know the formula for area of a circle is pi times the radius squared, but we need a way to find the area of this around the side of the cylinder. That's called the lateral area. So we're gonna use a formula to find the surface area of a cylinder, but before I give you the formula, I want you to understand where it comes from. If I were to take a piece of paper and wrap it around this cylinder and unwrap it so I can find the area of it, that's going to be a rectangle. And we know the area for a rectangle is just the length times the width. So if I could find the area of this rectangle, then I could add it to the area of the top and the bottom circles, and that would be the area of the cylinder. Okay, well, how would we find the length and the width of this rectangle besides measuring it? Like what if we had a cylinder that we couldn't wrap paper around? Notice that length of that paper goes around the outside of that circle. That's the circumference. And the width of the paper is the height of the cylinder. So when I want to find the area of the paper, this is just the circumference of the circle times the height of the circle. And that's going to help us see where the surface area of a cylinder comes from. Okay, let me switch this so you can see me do some on the board. Okay, so to find the surface area of a cylinder, we need the lateral area, which is the area around the side of the cylinder, like that paper would have covered, plus the area of the two circles, the top and the bottom. Well, the lateral area was the circumference times the height. The area of the paper was the circumference times the height. Now, remember we had two different formulas for circumference. One was pi times diameter. The other was 2 times pi times the radius. This tends to be the formula we use in surface area. We do 2 times pi times the radius times the height. That will give us just the lateral area, the area of that paper that wrapped around the cylinder. Then we're going to do the area of the two circles. Well, the area of one circle is pi times the radius squared. We're going to double that for the area because there's two circles. So this is your formula for surface area of a cylinder. 2 times pi times the radius times the height plus 2 times pi times the radius squared gives us the surface area of a cylinder. Now write that down and do these with me. That looks terrible, but once you start working with it, you find out it really isn't all that bad. Let me get an eraser. It does take up a little bit of room. It is a little bit tedious. But here's a cylinder. It has a radius of 13 feet and a height of 21 feet. So to find the surface area, I'm going to do 2 times pi times the radius, which is 13, times the height, which is 21, plus 2 times pi times the radius, which is 13, squared. That's the hardest part. Now you just start doing your math. Exponents before multiplication. 13 squared is 169. So this is 2 times pi times 169 plus 2 times pi times 13 times 21. Now we can just do the multiplication. Remember, we're not going to multiply the pi. We're going to leave things in terms of pi unless the directions tell us to round it. So here I'm just going to do the 2 times the 13 times the 21. Well, 2 times 13 times 21 is 546. So this is really just going to be 546 pi. Plus, over here, I'm going to do 2 times 169, which is 338. So this is really 338 pi. Now I can add 546 pi plus 338 pi. I'm really just adding the 546 and the 338. And that gives me 884. And then I'm just going to tack on the pi symbol because I'm going to leave it in terms of pi unless I'm told to round. And it's surface area, so it's going to be square feet. Not nearly as bad as it looks. You have the formula. I'll give you the formula even on your assignment for today. All you really have to do is plug in the numbers. Let's do one more. This does not look easy to read. My marker's dying. That was plus 2 times pi times the radius squared. Okay, so here's another cylinder. This time the diameter is 8 and the height is 12. So if I'm going to use this formula, I'm going to do 2 times pi times the radius, which is 4, times the height is 12. Don't forget to cut the diameter in half for the radius. The diameter goes all the way across. The radius only goes halfway across. Plus 2 times pi times the radius, which is 4, squared. Exponents before multiplication. So I have 2 times pi times 4 times 12 plus 2 times pi times 4 squared is 16. Now we multiply. Multiplication before addition. So 2 times 4 is 8 times 12 is 96. This whole thing right here is 96 pi. Over here, 2 times 16 is 32, so this whole thing is 32 pi. Add them together. 96 pi plus 32 pi is going to be 128 pi, and that has a label of square centimeters. I hope that helps with today's work. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know.